Everyone, this is the September 11th meeting of the DPS Commission. I'd like to start the meeting tonight with a call to order and a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call the roll. Kennedy? Here. Schmidtke?
Present, sir.
Riley?
I am here.
Estras?
Present.
Cloutier?
Here.
Budney?
Present.
And Mr. Van Oz is not with us tonight. Before we start our regular meeting, John Keim would like to say a few words. John?
I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for all those who lost their lives this day in 2001.
John, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You're reading my mind. And how much of a moment do you think is warranted in this situation? 17 seconds? What are we talking about? That's 17 years ago.
We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you, John. Next, we have a fairly light agenda tonight. I'd like to welcome our guests and have a motion to approve the agenda, unless there's any additions.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. The agenda is distributed, be approved. Any additions, deletions? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the minutes of our our August 14th meeting, which you've all had a chance to look at. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th.
I'd like to move that the minutes of August 14th, 2018 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we have approval of our bills for Public Services Department operations, pages 6 through 18 of our packet. Are there any questions?
I do have a quick question.
Okay. What page, please?
On page, let me make sure I got that. Here, is this it? Yes. Quickly on page, what page is this? 8. Oh, you have two, near the top, about the 4th or 5th thing down, we have two items of miscellaneous clamps, but quite a bit of money involved. I just wondered, are they big clamps? Is it a lot of little clamps? Is it for one job? What exactly is that, since they had miscellaneous clamps?
They were, they're different sizes, mainly for the Park Lane repairs that we were making. We were getting them in longer sizes so we could cover more of the pipe.
Okay.
So there was a lot of 36-inch
Okay.
length in there.
Yeah, just because there were two in a row.
And we had to have them now. Well, we were going through them like one a day. So.
And you say Park Lane, now it makes sense. Thank you, John.
Are there other questions? If not, all in favor indicate.
We didn't have a motion yet. I'll make a motion to approve the bills, vouchers 13,762 through 13,772.
I'll support.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item 7 is a review of our revenues and expenditures for all of our operations, water, sewer, wastewater plant, refuse, and we'll receive and file those if there aren't any questions. That's for the first 5 months of the fiscal year. And on pages 17 and 18, you have a copy of the Treasurer's Report for DPS investments. If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the Treasurer's Report for August of 2018.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
Supported that the Treasurer's Report for August be approved as distributed. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we have an opportunity for public comment. And I see Mr. Grazioli's here. Right, Mark? Yep. Thank you for being here. Mr. Flavin from Park Lane. So if anybody'd like to speak, first item on our agenda is the Park Lane water main. And we have, I hope, some good news on that for you tonight. So at any rate, You want to address us, Mark? We'll come up to the mic.
My name is Mark Grazioli. I live on Knutson, and I was here before. My primary interest is the roads, and I know we've reached a point now where we're 60 days away from it being on the ballot, and I was curious about the public information program that you have for that, because I want to get out the vote.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
That's what I want to
And
do.
your question's timely. We have a print from the printer for this brochure, a 4-page mailer that would be mailed out twice, once at the end of September and once at the end of October. And it's a 4-page brochure, and I'll just highlight it right now.
Okay.
The front cover, we have a display of 6 road segments, including East River, West River, Meridian, Ferry, Bellevue, and Church roads that show the severe breakup and failure of many of our road surfaces. The proposal is, Mark, as you know, is to take to the voters on November 6th the proposition that we would ask for a levy of 2 mills for 12 years. 2 mills for 12 years. And with that money, we would raise about $1.2 million a year. And our intent would be to pave all the primary roads on the island. The primary roads are East River, West River, Meridian. These are the so-called collector roads, not the neighborhood roads. And we would issue a bond if that were approved in the second year. And the bond would allow us to do most of the road improvements in a 3-year period. The other thing is that this brochure would list what roads would be done. Church Road would start in 2019. In 2020, we would do several sections of East River and finish West River. In 2021, 3.5 miles of Meridian from the Parkway out to the north end of the island, out past Horse Mill would be paved, as well as Bellevue, which is in very bad condition, between Meridian and East River. In 2022, we would do Ferry Road. We would work on Park Lane, South Point, and Horse Mill, and others. The thing about this program, even with issuing a bond, for that 12-year period after the initial construction, we would have $300,000 plus a year to invest in other roads, maintenance. So that would mean, so as you know, we've done the study. The documents are downstairs at the DPS office. Any citizen wishes to come and look at them. We received a year ago and studied the county, Wayne County, and Wayne County owns the roads, their needs list for 2018, which is their top 100 projects throughout all of Wayne County. And for those that might not remember, Wayne County goes from the Grosse Pointes, Detroit, Northville, Plymouth, Westland, Livonia, Brownstown, Canton, Wayne, all the way to Grosse Ile and downriver, and Allen Park and Lincoln Park and so forth. So we have no road project on it, on their list. Now we do have our bridge. The county bridge is on it for almost $3 million. So that's listed in here. The proposition, the way it would be worded, is listed in here. And this is going to be mailed out. I'm glad you asked the question. At our meeting next month, October 9th at 7 o'clock, and we're going to put this out on, and we're going to notice this up on Channel 10 and for WOW, and on Channel 12 on our notice board on Channel 12 on TV, as well as post it. We're going to have a public hearing in this room to answer questions. Now, the brochure will have already been mailed out well over a week by that time. People have received notice. So the last public hearing we had on roads, we had 41 citizens here. You were here, Mark. And it was suggested by a couple of our commissioners that we ought to tell people what other communities have done. So at the bottom of this brochure, it talks about in 2013, voters in Riverview approved 2.73 mills, almost 3 mills for 10 years for road improvements. In 2015, the last time we went to the voters, in Allen Park, they approved 1.9 mills for 10 years. Again, we're asking for 2 mills for 10 years. In 2014, voters in I guess they had some specific projects, approved 7 mills for 5 years for roads. And they did have some projects they wanted to pave. And this primary, in August of 2018, Canton Townships, who has a lot of road problems like we do, approved 1.5 mils for 20 years. So, and 1.5 mils in Canton, I can tell you, probably brings in a couple $1 million more.
Yeah.
So anyway, glad you asked. Gave me an opportunity to mention this.
Okay.
This will be mailed out to all residents. It's a notice of the public hearing, and it describes what we're going to do. So.
Yeah. I haven't been coming to the meetings in August purposely because I was going to wait till we were closer to the election to get more active. I plan on doing some knocking on doors. I have talked to people, and I've explained what it is that you're doing. I mean, the one thing that's unanimous is that the roads are in disrepair. And as soon as you start that conversation, they'll tell you, yeah, they're bad. And it's really not that much money, the 2 mills, because I figured out for my house what it is. So what I want to do is get out and get around my neighborhood and get some other people energized to do some face-to-face supporting the millage. And that's kind of why I've been waiting, because now with 60 days to go, we can do that.
Thank you very much, and our hope is to explain to people what it's all about.
And that brochure will help. I'm sure we'll carry it with us when we go to talk to them.
As I said, the brochure will be available if you need extra copies at the end of the month.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And Mr. Flavin, I'm going to start out with your items next, and I'd like to give you some good news. We have a report in front of the commission for our approval, but after you people appeared here on Park Lane at the last meeting, and you're welcome to come up to the podium if you wish, several things took place. We understood your concerns. We talked to Les Schmidtke, who used to run the water department, who's on our commission, and John Keim and Lorinda, Mr. Budney, Ted Van Oz, who's on the board of trustees. And so we had a couple of important things to do. One is we certainly knew that pipe that was installed by a private company 60, 70 years ago. Right, Les? Wyandotte Chemical, whatever it was called back then. And given the fact that we've had so many breaks in that area, 16 this year, the pipe just is in really bad shape. We thought we have to do something about this instead of waiting for our meeting tonight and then delaying things again. So we happened to be taking bids, or we had a construction project on West River Road to convert a 6-inch to a 12-inch, which is what your project was. The company's name is Bidgary, so the contractor was willing to extend his bid prices. They bid on a unit basis, whether it's for a fire hydrant or a valve or for installation of 12-inch pipe, cleanup, and all this stuff. And we were able to verify that they were willing to extend all their unit prices, so it already has been bid in terms of unit prices. And then the next question is, how are we going to pay for it? So we looked at two things that our finance director suggested and we pursued. One is we have a little money left over on the West River Road water project, and there was some money accumulated from over the years from other projects, from water bonds that were sold. And to best of our estimate, we have over $600,000 in that fund. Most of that's going to be from the West River Road project. And those were water bonds. Could be built water anywhere. And our wastewater treatment plant fund, every year we put money away in that fund, and every year we spend money on capital improvements at our wastewater plant, but we have an accumulated fund balance of a little over $3 million in that fund in case there's a major catastrophe, and you can spend that pretty easily at a plant operation like that. Well, we decided for now, let's borrow $600,000 from it. So the project's going to be a little shy of a $1.2 million. We're going to put the $600,000 from the wastewater fund and the monies left in the bond fund together and go ahead and replace this. So last night, the recommendation was to the township board, and I'm explaining this to the commission as well, that the township board approved awarding the contract to Bidgary Construction. and he's ready to go. I think if you want to add anything to it, but we've already applied for the permits to get any water main improvement or sewer line. You have to get a permit from the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. We've submitted the permit applications to them and to Wayne County, because it's in Wayne County's right away. And we hope that by the end of the month, we would get approval from the state and county, and the contractor is going to install it this fall. So that's the update on it. I'm pleased that you're here to hear this. And let me see, is there any action we're going to take tonight, Lorinda, on this?
Yeah, you wanted to do that as a follow-up to last
We
night's meeting.
wanted to do is just have the commission
So the commission
approve
would
what
be,
I've just outlined.
Bill,
I've talked to Les about it, Phil about it, and I've talked to Jim about it and Ted.
Bill, I just wanted to mention, when we were talking to the residents, we had been talking about from Annette to Meridian. This project is from Bridge to Meridian. It's the whole length of it, not just Annette, not just in the middle of this thing. We're replacing the whole thing. So I think that's something that's, we looked at it and certainly said if we put in new pipe here, you still have old pipe. Old pipe's going to break. It'd probably be even worse because of the pressures with the new pipe. So we are replacing all the way from Bridge to Meridian on Park Lane.
All right, so I guess the motion would be the top of our report on page 19 to just move to approve the award of the contract for Park Lane Water Main to bid Gary Contractors in the amount of $976,844.53. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there support?
I will support that.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. So the Township Board approved this last night. Normally, we would go back to them 2 weeks or your next meeting later, but we thought we'd hurry this up and expedite it so that everybody knows where we're going and it can get built as soon as possible. You have any further comments, questions? Thank you, sir.
On that permit, did they put in as an emergency permit from the DEQ?
Can't answer that, Les.
We did ask them to expedite it,
Yeah.
and they're doing the best they can because we had actually asked to go ahead and start during their review, and they said, no, we could not. So we have to wait but they are expediting it.
Sometimes they'll move it a little faster when you tell them it's an emergency.
Get on waterway, correct.
Yeah.
Is there any harm in doing that? Just modify it. Just modify your presentment. Happens all the time in some areas.
You mean, John, modify that to make it
Modify to make it emergency, yeah.
Well, John, will you check on that
Just-
tomorrow?
yeah.
Okay. But we've had the permit application in, John, for over 2 weeks.
So what? Until they decide, you can modify.
All right. So the next item on our agenda also involves a water main, and I'm going to let staff speak to the history of it, but it's a motion to award a repair on a water main on Dallas Drive, where we've had numerous
It's
breaks.
actually a replacement, Bill.
Replacement for, that's right, thank you. Replacement to Campo Brothers, we have a couple of bids for $47,535. John or Lorinda?
Okay. Back when we were having numerous water main breaks, Dallas Drive was right in the mix of everything. So at that time, I decided to go ahead and on an emergency basis, get some prices from Bidigair was one, and also Campo Brothers. Campo Brother came in a little bit less than them. So the proposal is to replace 350 linear feet with 8-inch C900 water main by open cutting. And then they're going to be installing gate valve, fire hydrant, and connecting a service line. So the bid proposals from both, from Bidigair was $60,886, and Campo Brothers was for $47,535. Where I consulted with Ann to find out how we were going to finance this, and she said that we still had, we had additional bond monies that were available, and also we could borrow from the wastewater treatment plant fund and pay that back in the future with water revenues.
Okay, well, So that's the proposal. And for the residents' sake, it says our report says, the residents on Dallas Drive and Dallas Court have experienced 4 water main breaks this year. There have been a total of 7 in the past couple years. Most have occurred in front of one resident's property. And I won't give the address, but at any rate, so this is a section of pipe that's very bad, we want to replace. So we'll entertain a motion to award the contract to the lowest bidder, Campo Brothers.
So moved.
I support.
Moved and supported. Are there further questions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, motion passed. Thank you.
Bill, 17 years ago today, we were in front of that house digging a water main break. And that's when my son came out of his house and walked over and told us somebody flew a plane into the World Trade Center. So he went back in the house and we were digging and trying to fix the main break. And he came back out again. He says, they flew another plane into the other building. So he went back in the house and we kept working. And well, pretty soon, here he comes out again. And he says, now what's the good news you got to tell us? They just flew a plane into the Pentagon and into Pennsylvania. I says, don't go back in the house. You stay here with us. Because every time you come out of that house, you're giving us bad news.
Well, that's coincidental that you remember that, Les.
It really is. You know he'd remember it, but the fact that this is on the table tonight, that's very unusual.
So before we leave the subject of water mains, hi, Ryan, I just want to indicate a little plan I have. And Phil Kennedy and I have been participating in a committee with the township manager and a couple trustees to examine our contract that's expired with the Detroit water system, which is now called, since Mayor Duggan's been in place, they've split up the Detroit water system, and now it's called the Great Lakes Water Authority. We anticipate by December, we will, before the township board, Jim, and you're aware of this, that the township board hopefully will re-sign the contract. It's a 30-year contract. All the communities in the metropolitan area, but 6 are members, and we're one of the 6 that are not reapproved on it. Because we have options. We could have built our own plant at great cost, at great risk. But with the new leadership at the Great Lakes Water Authority, and you guys looked at this the last meeting, we gave you the brochure. It looks like they've really become responsible and really cooperative in their way they operate with the community. So hopefully that will happen. If it does, we could probably look at possibly saving some money on our wholesale water purchases and maybe pledge that for some more water main repairs. So what I hope to do at our November meeting, maybe our December meeting, is have our engineers in because they're working on our reliability study, which has to be done every 10 years to the state. And they examine the pressures between hydrants, and we've made a lot of repairs now. So it's the master water reliability study that they'll be bringing to us. And we can identify in that what mains, and I know a big one is Meridian, from about Bellevue or Parkway north to basically Horse Mill or Church Road. We've had a number of breaks there too. It's a 16-inch line, correct, John?
No, it's 6 and 8 inch.
At any rate, we have to look ahead and see what opportunities we can have to repair more water mains. So that's something that this commission will be looking at as we go ahead in the future. Any other questions on water? If not, manager's report.
Okay, up first is the West River Water Main Project update. So far, the curbs have been installed. There was about 2,100 feet of curb. The milling's been completed. 98% of the driveways have been completed. Those that are remaining are asphalted, and those will be they'll be asphalting them tomorrow. Tomorrow they'll also be grading West River Road, and they'll be bringing the stone for the base will be brought in starting tomorrow. That should be completed in about a week due to the weight limits, so they have to bring in smaller loads. And then the drainage for Mr. what's his name? Pachut?
Don't mention the name, but
Or what?
one big drainage issue.
one
There's a
drainage
drainage issue down there that'll be completed after that. So we're getting there.
So I guess the big question I have, and I have two questions. Is the traffic supposed to go northbound or southbound?
Southbound one way.
Really want to look at the project for the
Go to
commission.
Church Road and come south.
Go to Church Road and head south.
Don't do it tomorrow.
Yeah, please.
All right. And do you have any, I guess the weather's going to be depending on when they start paving. Is it possible by the end of the month we'll have it paved?
Yes, we're hoping so.
By the end of September, it'll be paved.
Yeah.
That's good news. I drove it over the weekend after they had milled, and I was surprised they'd gotten that much done. It's in pretty good shape. And I was, by the way, in Kroger's, the meeting place everybody goes to. A gentleman stopped me that I never knew before, and he said the contractor's doing a good job, keep making it a neat job on West River Road. And he is.
I've gotten a lot of compliments on the contractor as well.
Where are they going to be paving from? Are they going to be paving from the bridge, the West River Road Bridge? Or aren't they going down that far?
Be from Church Road, beginning at Church Road, going southbound to just in front of the wastewater treatment plant. Just north of the south driveway.
They're going to leave that small stretch up to the bridge?
Yeah, we didn't remove it. It wasn't part of our project.
Make much sense.
Well, the bridge is in good shape.
But they should pave it up to the bridge.
It wasn't in our project, so.
Remember, the project was for water main. The secondarily was the road that had to be torn up. So,
All right.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
When our millage passes, we could probably fit that in.
All right, so is there any other questions on the West River Road project? Anything else we should know about there?
Everything's going great. They're doing an outstanding job.
Okay, Ember Court drainage problem.
I talked to Campo this afternoon, and he said they should be starting before the end of the month. They're already completed with all the concrete that we had on the road repairs, so they're gearing up now to do this next.
Haven't started it yet.
No.
do you know where they're going to go in from? Or it's going to be they're going to be working off of Stout, or are they going to be working off of Park Lane, Stout?
Anybody have any questions about Ember Court? If not, the pressure reducing valve update.
Just in case nobody's aware of it, we did rebuild the pressure reducing valve at the Wayne County Free Bridge. That's site GI03 is the name of that. Kennedy Industries completed that within 1 day of starting that project, so it was start to finish. They stayed late and got it in place. They did find a piece of construction debris inside the existing pressure reducing valve, and they feel highly that was the problem with the existing one. So since we have rebuilt that in place, we've had very few water main breaks at all. And we have pressure charts that record the pressure, both at that facility as well as one at the Bridge Road facility. It's been just a perfect circle of anywhere right around 59, 60 pounds pressure, all 24 hours, 7 days a week. So
What
we
you
have
found-
balanced the pressure.
Found construction debris was a piece of 2x4, right?
Correct.
It was a piece of plywood, wasn't it, John?
It looked like a piece of 4x4 that had been worn down over the years that now looks like about the size of a 2x4.
That picture they showed me, it looked like a piece of plywood that I figured it might have come from the new meter that went in by the city of Detroit.
Been in there a long time.
Yeah, it was.
38 years? 38 years. Okay, well,
Everything's functioning properly, and let's hope that
our fingers crossed. Okay.
What kind of wood was that, John?
look like pressure treated.
Oh, they last longer. How fortunate.
Okay, next, Ryan Walsh. Ryan, come up to the podium. Give us an update on our wastewater treatment plant operation.
Kennedy took it for their museum. Yes.
Thank you.
So I got a picture. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Ryan, how you doing?
First up is the Huperin Influent R-Screen plant project. Got an update. CE Rains is still providing measurements on that. CE Rains was actually in there this past week in that. And so once we have all of the measurements, we'll still need to send in that Part 41 permit to the EQ. And then after, CE Rains will finalize for the RFP and then advertise for proposal. So CE Rains is hoping on finishing all that by mid-September. That's the latest on that.
Are there any questions on this? What's going on? So, for the public that might be watching, in case anybody is, what's the shaft called? We're going to put the
Wet well.
wet well. It's about
Wet well
how
at the
deep is it?
wastewater. It's about 40 feet deep.
40 feet deep. So it's almost a rectangular shaft, right?
Exactly.
Currently, there's a staircase that goes down, and that's where the influent, the sewage comes into the plant.
Yes.
And what's happening at the plant is manpower has to go down the staircase every day and clean the plastic bags that are in the sewers off the screens because it's clogging them up. And this is not only unsafe and environmentally unsafe and health-wise unsafe, but what the solution other wastewater plants have attempted, I'm trying to say it in layman's terms, you can correct me, is to put a chain belt in it so that it's almost
It's a rake.
like,
It rakes
it's like
everything
a rake
up. Yep.
where it's continuous flow and it rakes all these bags up to the top and they go in a hopper. Is that correct?
Yep. That's what it
Very
is.
expensive undertaking to do this. And the measurements you're talking about are to see if the manufacturer of this bar screen rake, Duperon, if it'll fit in that shaft. Correct?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So that's the latest
Our
on
commission had the opportunity to all go visit the shaft a couple of months ago.
We should do it again.
And Brenda loved it, and
that. Well, you're welcome.
we were down in the plant. Okay. I just wanted to explain to the public what we're talking about here. So, okay.
Next on the list is the latest on the elevator violations. We have some pictures of the cables. There's one. So that's in the hoistway of our elevator. And as you can see, they're all corroded out. And that's our issue there. And Detroit Elevator said that we need them replaced in that, so we can't refurbish them or anything. So that's the one picture, and there's another one. So it looks like that, which is why we need our ventilation in there. And the latest on that is CE Rains actually recommends Gee and Missler for that.
I think that's Gee and Miss.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yep. And the inspector said that if if they receive a permit for that from the Detroit Elevator, we wouldn't need an RFP for that.
So, Ryan, would Detroit Elevator get the permit and have
Yes.
Guy and Missler
Install
do
it.
the work?
That's correct. And the phone has been fixed in there. They were successful in fixing that, which is also off the list. And then Detroit Elevator will fix all the other items on the list also. So that's the latest on that.
What about, are they going to replace the cables?
Yes. Yep.
What's that going to cost?
About $10,000.
On those cables, is there any type of lubricant put on those cables at all?
Should be, yes. Yes, yeah.
If they had
But
lubricant
since
on them,
they're-
they shouldn't have rusted.
Well, the inspector said that since we don't, we have no ventilation in there, which is the reason. And the cables are not stainless either, so, which is why. Maybe 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Yeah, yep. So,
What you're saying is that the state came along and inspected the elevators.
yes.
Said we have
yep,
to replace the cables. You check
Yep.
with, unless they could be repaired by Detroit Elevator, they said they can't do it and guarantee it.
Yep, that's correct.
Need to fix the cables, but and we're going to bid that out, right?
Yes. Yep.
Ventilation system needs to have a fan in it to vent the elevator shaft that goes down into the wet wells.
Yes, and we need that first, I guess, before the
Ventilation system?
Yeah, or else you're going to have the same situation. Yep.
What's a ventilation system going to cost? Roughly.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know, but I'll find out about that.
Okay, so you're going to be bringing a report at our next meeting on both these items?
Yes.
Is that
yep.
your plan?
Yep, that's my plan.
On these two topics, any other questions?
That vent system will remove moisture too, won't it? When you're pushing the air out? Is that part of it or no?
Yes, it should be pressurized, so it will suck in and then and then push it out. Yeah. Yep.
There are other issues?
No other issues. Everything is smooth at the wastewater plant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dirty business though, right?
Yeah, but it's most important though.
But you have to have it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ryan.
Yep.
Okay, with that, there are no items I'm aware of for discussion. Are there any discussion items anybody has? The chairman has no report. I've already talked enough. We'll go around the table for commissioners' comments, and we'll start with Mr. Schmidtke.
The only thing I got to complain about is nobody's come to put the sign up yet.
No, it's on its way. It's on its way.
Fixing the mail.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, and actually, just thinking of you last reminded me. John,
Yes, sir.
yesterday I drove over the ferry road bridge over the canal. On the abutment to the bridge over the canal on the east end of it, that's very bad. I think it's time you put in writing to the county your concern about the road collapsing there.
That actually is on our emergency plan. The which is being headed up by Duncan Murdoch, the fire chief. That's on there, and that is noted as to how bad it is. And we're having discussions right now with not only Wayne County, but Homeland Security and a number of other agencies regarding those things. If something were to happen, how would we get it repaired right away? So
Talking about the ferry
Fair-
road bridge over the canal.
yes,
All right, so I still think that, don't you think, Jim? I mean, I don't know what plan you're talking about. This has
yeah,
to do with
this is
public
an
safety.
an emergency plan.
So I guess the bigger concern is, over the years, since Barry Sedlak was DPS director, on that east abutment to that bridge, we've seen actual holes the size of a softball you could see down in the pavement.
Right.
And every year they come out and they patch it, and then every year it gets worse. Well, this is a new spot. It's off to the...
That was one of the bridges that was on their list when they came through, and
My thought
yeah.
on that particular issue is they should put some kind of a temporary piece of steel on the pavement there, like, and kind of bolt it in if they can, so we don't get some. I mean, I think you ought to notify him, John, that it's
It never hurts. Yeah, it never hurts to
in
talk
writing
to
from DPS to their road division. Then you're covered, but I really think they need to address it. That one spot is much worse than it was a month ago.
Yes, sir.
Les, thanks for reminding me.
them. Yeah, we're gonna use his metal sign. Put over the.
Yeah, as the plate.
We better not complain too much of the county. They'll come and shut that bridge down too.
Just said the same thing.
Just
Les.
said,
You know what? Hush.
they'll shut it
That
down.
that seems to be the trend
That
that's
seems the
going
way
on.
they fix things.
Well, the one on Park Lane's closed. We know that, right, Mr. Flavin? So and there's no answer on that either, Jim, right?
Well, there is. I mean, there's a number of bridges. Actually, your bridge over West River and the Park Lane over there, they're the same type of. They're built the same way, same problem. Park Lane's a little worse because it's in the water versus not being in the water, but probably 2019 for those. West River for sure.
Okay, Phil.
Nothing further.
John.
Just a little something, or a big something. I was very pleased with John Keim's suggestion for a moment of silence, 17 years after the fact. And I had the occasion to talk about that at the time it happened with Chuck Hastings. Chuck was a resident here for many years, very successful pharmacist. His son, Trenton High School man, went to Princeton, football scholarship, very sharp guy, wound up working in the World Trade Center when the attack occurred. And the good news is Charles successfully survived that. And part of the reason it was very interesting and educational to talk to him, and I spent a long time talking to him when he came back here to visit right after the assault on the building. So the first building was struck by a plane, and the second building was vibrated and shocked by the first building being hit by the plane. Charles was working on the 70th some odd floor, and the building security came on after the lights blinked and the whole building shook. This is Tower 2. Security came on and said, "Our building's secure. You may go back to work." And being an athlete and living in the city, he had his gym bag underneath his desk, as did two of his coworkers. And he looked at the man and he said, "We're not staying. Let's go work out." He was on the 20th floor when the second plane pounded into that tier of offices, which were in the 70 numbers. And having been able to talk to him about what he observed really is more than media could ever cover. So that terrible situation needs to be remembered, because we need to stay awake at all times for many reasons. That's it.
Thank you, John. That's a great story. Thank you, John. Brenda?
No.
Nothing? Lenny?
Thank you, John, and no further comment.
All set. Nope.
Okay, last but not least, Lorinda, anything else?
Let's see. Want to mention, Wayne County's going to be out resurfacing 2 sections of East River Road, next week. One section is going to be between, Macomb and Groseville Parkway, and the other one's going to be between, Stout and Church Road. We've made sure that they're not going to interfere with the garbage collection on those days. So they'll be out here next week doing that. And that's all I have.
In case anybody didn't see it, they are mobilizing their equipment this Thursday. So the Wayne County Bridge will be closed on Thursday between 9 and approximately noon for them to bring their equipment across the bridge.
Talking about for West River Road,
River. Wayne County's,
For Wayne counties.
for the pet repairs they're going to make?
correct. Approximately noon this Thursday.
You don't have to worry
The
about that.
Groseville
You'll fly.
Connect had it until 2.
Oh, did they?
9 to 2 was what
Is that
Connect
what it
said.
was today? I didn't
So-
look.
9, yeah. I was not, I had 9 to 2. It's going to be closed.
One last chance, anybody in the audience, any questions? Thank you for being here, and I see there's another gentleman there.
Across from Mark, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank all you folks for the great job you do. I've come to a couple meetings with Mark, and I know that a few months back when we came, you somehow came up with $50,000 or $60,000 to do joint repairs on the island. And are you in charge of coordinating that whole thing? You're doing a great job. I ran a lot of large-scale construction projects over my career, and the effort that you guys put forth all the time is awesome. I just feel compelled, having been a resident for 21 years now, to tell you what a great job you do. Most people don't take time to thank their officials for the hard work that they do, and the detail that you folks put into your work should be commended. So I just want to take a moment to do that. And it's gross.
Appreciate those comments, and
Great place to
this
live.
commission does work pretty hard. We study roads and sewage and sometimes
For somebody that's
refuse.
been in the business, it's real obvious to me how much effort you put into this. And most people here, not everyone, but most people probably just take that for granted, and they drive across on their way home from work, and they drive away on their way to work or shopping or whatever, and just all happens, right? But it doesn't just happen. It happens because of folks like you. So I wanted to make sure I took a moment to thank you.
Appreciate that, and you know, just driving here tonight, it was a beautiful night. Our island is beautiful. And it wouldn't be beautiful if we didn't have the health issues that we were able, good water, reliable water, treat our wastes, and it would be more beautiful if we had safe roads. So that'll be my closing comment.
So come out and vote.
I'll entertain a
I
motion.
will make
to
a
adjourn.
motion. We adjourn this meeting at 7:50.
I will support that.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.